In a world where watches are getting smarter, does a tiny fitness tracker still hold up? And why would you even get a tracker like the Fitbit Charge 6 when a smartwatch can do way more?
The truth is, these days, trackers are a lot more like smartwatches, and they do a lot more than you might think.
Plus, with their slimmer profile and smaller cost, they might make a lot more sense for you. In this review, I'm looking at the Fitbit Charge 6 to see if the addition of more Google-powered software makes it better or bogs it down.
I've been wearing the Fitbit Charge 6 for 3 weeks solid, so I'll tell you what this fitness tracker device can do, what it measures, what it's like to wear, and how it might be helpful to you. I'll wrap things up by going over the pros and the cons and letting you know if I think I can recommend this fitness band to you.
So what's new with the Fitbit Charge 6? One of the biggest differences you'll find from the Charge 5 is the introduction of Google Apps to the Fitbit world.
The ability to use Google Wallet, Google Maps, and YouTube Music is brand new on this device, and it comes a few years after Google bought Fitbit. The Charge 6 now also adds the ability to connect to a bunch of different home fitness and gym equipment too.
The Charge 6 also reintroduces a haptic multifunction button where the Charge 5 had none, but it does feel oddly placed on the left side of the tracker.
The other newish thing about Charge 6 is that Fitbit users who have existing accounts must eventually migrate their accounts, their Fitbit accounts, to Google. Now, I went through this process when I reviewed the Google Pixel Watch 2, and I found it to be a little bit clunky, and that was probably complicated by the fact that I had a second Fitbit account with a Gmail address that I set up years ago and then never used. Now, with the swap in the rearview mirror, it is fine now, and I did get great customer service from Fitbit to help me make that transition.
The Charge 6 works with both Apple and Android phones. It uses an app to track and collect data with two levels of things that it monitors, what I'll call basic and expected stats, things like steps, sleep, activity, distance, and floors climbed, as well as more advanced metrics like heart rate tracking. It will also track SpO2 or blood oxygen, skin temperature, and your breathing rate, and it has a menstrual cycle tracker. It can even allow you to sync blood glucose readings from other devices into the Fitbit app. The app has been redesigned within the last year or so, and it's a little less cluttered, which I quite like. The Fitbit app had gotten really bulky and had way too much going on for a while. For the most part, though, it seems like Fitbit has returned to its simpler roots, and I like the less is more approach. Even so, you can get the more is more by diving into some of the layers of menus and settings that do exist. Important to note is that a Fitbit device, unlike something similar like a Google Pixel Watch 2, will integrate with iPhones and it'll send you notifications of incoming calls and texts. Worth noting though, you can't reply or answer the phone on the Charge 6, but you do get the alerts, which can still be a big help. A Fitbit Charge 6 will actually give you quite a bit of data with just your device purchase, no extra payments required.
You can upgrade to Fitbit Premium, which provides guided workouts, meditation, exercises, and even nutritional advice, including recipes, as well as more granular sleep data and stress management help. Now, while I've had a Fitbit since they first launched their devices way back when, I've actually never subscribed to Fitbit Premium, and I haven't felt like I've been missing a thing. Premium costs about $150 per year, although there are often sales and annual pay options that cut the price, so you can always price it out and see if you might be interested.
The Charge 6 has GPS for tracking your runs or your hikes, but you do need to have your phone with you to use it, an odd downgrade from the Charge 5. I've also read that some question the accuracy of the GPS. I didn't use this feature, but if it is important to you, you might want to do some more research. The Fitbit Charge 6 has a number of sensors on the back that connect or touch your wrist and can do things like take an ECG rating of your heart rhythm or an electrodermal scan or EDA to measure your stress levels. It also measures your breathing rate, heart rate variability, and your resting heart rate.
Many of these metrics will be more than the average human needs, but if you're monitoring a health condition or training for something specific, having this more granular type of data can actually be a real help.
Google Maps seems like a no-brainer for a fitness tracker. You can plot out a course for a bike ride or a run, and if you lose track of where you're at, you can quickly reorient yourself right on your wrist. Using the Google Maps integration was easy enough to set up. It does take a couple of clicks to turn this on inside the app, and then you'll be ready to go. And you do also need to start the Google Maps navigation on your phone to see it on your Fitbit device. It was pretty finicky though when it came to connecting and sending the directions to my wrist. It seemed to need me to fully start the mapping on Google Maps app, then open the Fitbit app, then initiate the connection on my Charge 6 to allow it to connect. This might be an iPhone thing since I was trying to use this using the iPhone 13.
The downside of Google integration comes in a more limited selection of apps for things like music. The Charge 6 does come with a 1-month subscription to YouTube Music. After that, you'll need to pay about $12 Canadian per month, and there are no other music options available through the Charge 6. Using what's called HR on equipment in the Fitbit app, you can get your fitness metrics right on screen when you pair your Fitbit with a compatible exercise machine. The Charge 6 will connect with specific Bluetooth exercise machines, including brands like iFit, Nordic Track, Concept 2, Peloton bikes, and tonal machines to track your activity. Now, I didn't have access to any compatible fitness equipment during my testing period, so I can't speak to how common this is or how easy it might work. If you have firsthand experience with this, like whether or not it actually works well or works at all, I'd love to hear about it in the comments.
One of the things I really love about Fitbit, aside from its excellent accuracy, is that the company has really killed it when it comes to battery life. Fitbit's optimized a lot of its algorithms and battery usage, allowing the Charge 6 to last almost a week on a single charge, which blows away a lot of the competition and is days longer than the average smartwatch. The device uses a special magnetic dock, and recharging takes between 1 and 2 hours.
Overall, there's not a lot to complain about with the Fitbit Charge 6. Fitbit, or should I say Google, has kept all of the best features of a fitness and activity tracking band and made some significant improvements. Integration with many of the Google features like Google Maps and Google Wallet are helpful, and they add to its usefulness. Other pros? I really like the slim and sleek design, and I find it to be extremely comfortable with nothing to catch on your clothing. There's also, by the way, fancier bands if you want your fitness tracker to look a little more upscale.
The screen, though it is small, is quite easy to read, and the color display with different options for faces means it's totally customizable. I also can't get over how much the Fitbit Charge 6 looks very similar to the Google Pixel Watch 2. The Charge 6 will track a boatload of metrics, both ones you're interested in every day and others that may be more relevant for people watching a health issue or training for something special.
When it comes to the downsides, it's really hard to find something to dislike. I think some people might be annoyed by that integration with Google, since fairly soon you will absolutely need to have a Google or Gmail account in order to use a Fitbit. But that's supposed to make the ecosystem better, not worse.
I also found some challenges getting Google Maps to work easily and seamlessly.
Some of the other potential downsides for you could be features that the Charge 6 doesn't have that you might perhaps find instead in a smartwatch. I'm thinking things like fall detection or the ability to answer calls or reply to text messages right on your wrist. But if those are things you're after, an Apple Watch or the Pixel Watch 2 would be a better choice for you. Now, I know some folks really dislike the haptic side button on the Charge 6, but I found I didn't need it enough for me to develop a hate for it. In short, I've been a Fitbit fan for many years, and the Charge 6 only solidifies my feelings about it. Though I own both an Apple Watch and a Google Pixel Watch 2, the Fitbit Charge 6 has earned top billing on my wrist for now, with the more robust Watch 2 in second place, followed at a distant third by the Apple Watch. The Fitbit Charge 6 sells for about $159 US or $220 Canadian, and you can get it from Fitbit, Amazon, and most electronics shops. Now, if you do want to see what an upgrade looks like, check out my full review of the Google Pixel Watch 2, or see what Samsung has going on in the wearables department right now.